Steve, you had a fantastic transfer deadline day. Everything seems to be going swimmingly well. And then, of course, the chairman gives a press conference yesterday. Has that deflated things around here a little bit?
Well, I think for all of us, nothing's really changed. You know, I think what he's just reiterated his beliefs, and I think he made the appeal, or thought about making the appeal, within 24 hours of losing the last one. And as far as I'm aware, has obviously wanted to take it to the Court of Arbitration, and nothing's really changed on that. And deep down, I know for a fact he doesn't really want to sell it, but he feels that passionately about it, and for that we've got to have a respect to it. You know, he feels that passionately that the club can move forward with the name change, and that you have to respect. And of course, the one thing that we have to do on both sides when there's an argument is have respect for both sides. So, as for me, it's business as usual. Nothing's really changed. You know, it's been hanging around us now for, 6 months. I think the chairman reiterated his stance on it because there was all sorts of rumours flying around that he had already sold it, that he hadn't sold it, that he put it up for sale. I think we all know the situation. And for me now, let's just get on with playing football and get on with and wait till the Court of Arbitration hearing and see what that develops, because I think that's going to be months away, what I can gather.
Has he said that to you privately, that ultimately he'd like to see it through here? He doesn't want to sell Hull City?
Well, we only had to see him and what he did on transfer deadline day. Really, it's not the actions of a man who really wants to sell the football club, is it? And as I've said, I think he feels that strongly about the brand and the name change to help us go forward. That's his personal belief. And as I keep saying, we have to respect that for what he's done. But of course, in England, we're wary of change. We are wary of change. That's what we are. I never thought 20-odd years ago that the big clubs would break away from the Football League. They did, and created the Premier League. I never thought Arsenal would move away from Highbury and play in the Emirates. And there was all sorts of going on then. So, we're all a little bit wary, especially in this country, of change, because we're huge traditionalists, and so am I. I can't hide away from the fact that so am I. But he feels that passionately about it, that we have to respect it. And as I said, for what he's done for the club in terms of overseeing what has been a remarkable rise, then let's give him the respect he deserves.
How disappointing is it with you? Because since you came here to Hull, between you and the owner, you've enjoyed remarkable success. And in his words yesterday, he does see it black and white, doesn't he? Either black and white. The appeal comes first or the sale of the club comes first. There doesn't seem to be any grey area.
I think that's what I like about him. There's no grey area. It is black and white. And what you see is what you get. So I don't think there's any bluff. It's not a bluff. He thinks deeply and passionately about it, just like he did on deadline day to take us forward. So, as I keep saying, that we have to show that respect. And I hope that the supporters, can get behind the team. That's the most important thing for me too. Yes, there's an argument raging around, and some people are never going to accept it. That, for me, could be a minority. Who knows? So, it's a difficult situation I find myself in, always. But, as I said, if we all want one thing, that the club to get bigger and better and succeed. And I hope the supporters, especially the other side, will respect that there's an argument going on, and let's try and find a middle ground. But certainly I think the chairman has made his comments is there for everybody to see, and there's no going back on that.
As we touched upon earlier, of course, transfer deadline day was very successful for Hull City. You did some great business. Have you had the chance to see those players?
No, we've seen a couple, of course, but Diarmi had to go straight away and is not back probably till tomorrow. And Hernandez is still in Italy as we speak now, because he's trying to obtain his visa to get here. So he's had to go to visa to the British Embassy to try and get that work permit. We got the work permit in this country, and unfortunately he had to go and play for his country before he had got back into Italy. So I can't see him being available for Monday. And as I said, the army gets back probably tomorrow, so it's going to be the thick end of next week before we get everybody back into the thick of it and back training again.
I know it's always a matter of conjecture for Premier League managers, but how frustrating is it that you've had this 2-week spell without any Premier League football, and you've gone until Monday night, and yet probably you're not going to get all your squad on the pitch until Saturday?
It's always a difficulty, and now it's even more difficult because the games are, now it used to be a Saturday and a Tuesday, or a Saturday and a Wednesday. We've seemed to be playing internationals for a week now, every day of the week. So, listen, it is what it is. I think we're all experienced enough now to realise that what it is. For us, we had something like 15 players away in 10 different countries. So it shows you how far I think we only had 6 players back in the training ground when the internationals were there. So, excuse me. It's part and parcel of putting up and dealing with what becomes of a Premier League team.
And what about West Ham United? Because they've sort of spluttered their way into the season. I know Sam Allardyce has apologised for one of the performances. Is this an opportunity for Hull City?
Well, we're at home. We're at home, and we had the success we had last year was built around our performances away from home. It's huge, and that's where I urge the supporters to get behind the team. They did that last year. You know, they did that in the thousands last year, and it's vitally important. If we're going to go and survive and get bigger and better, then we need their support and right behind the team. So, you know, that's where I appeal to them to make it a little bit of a fortress. Like, it's always been a difficult place notoriously to come and play here. We've got to maintain that, and obviously we need the supporters help in doing that.
And I know you've often talked already this summer how difficult it is to stay in the Premier League the second season. Yeah. Are these the type of games you...
Yeah. We have to... Already you talk about it, and you're right. You know, it is, for me, going to be the most difficult season. We've had a fantastic couple of years, and we've got to maintain it and stay here. And we can talk about brand names in the name of the team. The one thing that we need behind us is the Barclays Premier League. We need to stay here and improve. And over the last couple of years, we've managed to do it. My aim is to make sure that we're here for the next few years and get bigger and better.
Thank you.
Going back to the last game, obviously you described it as the first half as the worst you'd seen in your time at the club. Is the break and the signing, is it almost a fresh start?
No. The first half in particular was certainly, I think, the worst in my time since we've been here. And we have to improve. We will improve because we couldn't get any worse, if that's the truth. We couldn't have done any worse in the game, in the first half in particular. So it's been a long time since then, and it's erased a little bit of the memory, but not a lot. So we have to improve on that performance. And as I said, we will do.
Is it almost like a fresh start now? It's almost like the season starts again now?
Well, it feels that way because of what happened on deadline day. I mean, to bring in 4 players, I mean, you know, 2 or 3 of them players were really done and dusted, but they didn't really get done until actual deadline day. And you know, the chairman in particular, you know, made available the funds after losing Snodgrass. He made available those funds again, which we spent on Snodgrass, which was vitally important to us. With the loss of Snodgrass and the loss of Long, it was important that we invested well, and for that, on paper anyway, it looks as if we have done. Proof's always in the pudding, so we have to go and perform to the level which we expect to make us stay in this division.
Obviously last season was almost overshadowed a little bit by the whole name change debate. Is there a worry that the whole sale issue could overshadow potentially this season?
Certainly the name change debate will never erase the memories for me of last season. Playing an FA Cup final, it never entered my mind that there was a name change. I think the chairman has made it pretty obvious, and he stated his intention. For me, it's nothing new. Let's get on with it. He's reiterated his feelings on it. He feels that strongly about it that we have to respect it. Also, as I've said repeatedly, there's both sides to an argument, especially in our country where we are huge traditionalists and we're wary of change. And me in particular, I'm a huge traditionalist too, and wary of change. But I've just said to the interview before, I never thought that Arsenal would leave Highbury and play in the Emirates Stadium. I never thought there'd be a breakaway in my football lifetime from breaking away from the Football League to create the Premier League. All at the time was change, and it's been nothing but great for football teams and football clubs in particular who've moved home. I never thought that football clubs would ever move away from the stadium that they've always been in, not in our country. So there is room, and there's a big debate going to go on for the next 4 or 5 months, but I think the chairman has made his thoughts pretty clear. It's black and white, there's no grey area, so let's get on with it and have a respect, and let's wait until the arbitration and let's see. And for 4 or 5 months in particular, let's just concentrate on making sure that we get enough points on the board to make sure we stay here in the Barclays Premier League, which is always my, we can talk about name changes and brands and all the rest of it. Staying in this league is huge for everybody concerned.
And is it a case then you almost keep them separate? How important is it to have stability off the pitch to get the success on it?
Well, I've got to answer the questions in front of you. Of course I have. And I knew this morning that it's not going to be, it puts me in a difficult situation. And there's no question about that, no argument about that. But for me now, it's done. I've answered your questions on it. For me, the one thing I focus on now is Monday night. That's all the most important thing to me and the team is to focus on. And that's not that make an excuse. We can't make excuses. It's there, it's in the background, but let's get on with it.
And so, we're expecting this one, but team news other than the lads who are any injuries?
Not that I'm aware of. I think everybody's okay. I won't be able to know really until tomorrow. As I said, Diami in particular gets back into the country today, so he would be making his way up to Hull today, and we'll see how he is tomorrow, but we envisage that everybody's okay. I haven't heard from Aluko, but he's been at the other end of the world too, so we'll see how they all are. But as far as we know, touch wood, everybody's okay.